The history books on the shelf.
Questions, Andy? No comments. You waiting for the police shoot? I'm only messing.
Now, I have a question. What counts as a film?
I told ya. It's a tube.
Today we have a very special guest, Andy Reid from the Standing Tall Foundation.
Today we're going to talk about Andy's journey, what he went through and what he does now to help others. Andy, thank you for joining us. We're really happy to have you here.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thanks for inviting me along.
Who are you and what's your story?
So, who am I? Like you said, I'm Andy Reid, MBE. Originally from Liverpool, as you say, I was born in Birkenhead, but now I live in Rainford, a little village just down the road. So what's the story? So I joined the army in 1997 after being at school and being inspired by my grandfather. My grandfather was in the army. He was in the Second World War, and he used to tell me all these amazing stories of when he was in the army and what he got up to. And I thought one day, when I leave school, I'm going to join the army as well. And during my time at school, I struggled quite a lot. I didn't know it at the time then, but I know now I've got dyslexia. So I used to get my letters jumbled up and my numbers jumbled up and things like that, and really struggle at school quite a lot. But I was really fit. So I used to play a lot of rugby, a lot of football, do a lot of cross-country running. So I thought if I carry on keeping myself fit, then I should be able to go and join the army. So that's what I concentrated on doing, really, yeah.
What was your life like growing up?
Yeah, it was okay. It was the same as most people's lives, you know. My mum and dad are divorced. I've got 3 sisters. You know, like I say, I didn't do very well at school because back then dyslexia and ADHD and all those kind of things weren't identified. You just told that you were naughty. You just get sent outside all the time. But the reality was that I couldn't do the letters because I couldn't spell. So I used to be behind. Then I'd start talking in class and start being a bit disruptive. So they used to just send me outside. And then in the 3rd year at secondary school, they asked me to leave that school, and I went to a different school. But yeah, life was okay. Growing up, my dad works as a projectionist at a cinema. So the people who put the films on at the cinema, that was his job. So he used to work 12-hour shifts, day on, day off. So I didn't really see my dad very much, to be honest, because I'd come home from school at 4 o'clock and Dad would still be at work till midnight. So by the time he got home from work, I was in bed. Then the next morning I'd get up and go to school, and my dad wouldn't get up to bed till about 11 o'clock. So obviously he'd done a night shift. So I only seen him every other day for about 4 or 5 hours a day, maybe sometimes less than that, really. And, my mum's disabled as well, unfortunately. So I used to be a young carer looking after my mum. So life was good, but it was difficult as well, and you know, tough as a lot of people's lives are, aren't they? You know, yeah.
What was day-to-day life in the army?
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, once you passed out your training and all that, and then you got to your regiment. I joined the Queen's Lancashire Regiment, which is a local regiment to my area. You'd get up in the morning at like 6:30, get your uniform on, get a shave, go over to breakfast. They have a big cookhouse, and then you maybe go for a run, maybe 2 or 3 mile run as a squad. Maybe do a bit of weapon cleaning, a bit of map reading, and then go and chill out, go and play Xbox for a bit or PlayStation for a bit or whatever. If you're in camp and you weren't on what we call operational tours, it was pretty steady, really. On a Wednesday, it was sports afternoon. So if you played golf or rugby or cricket or football, just go and do that for the afternoon. And then you generally finish at about 5 o'clock, go to the cookhouse again, get your tea, and then that'll be you for the day. Go and chill out and do what you want. So people think it's like all the time running around and doing mad training all the time, but a lot of the time it's quite relaxed. It's like a normal 9 to 5 job, really.
What was your role when you were serving?
Yeah, so I started off, first of all, when you join the army, like a private soldier. So people generally telling you what to do and things like that. And then you go on courses and get promoted. And I become a lance corporal, so then I can tell other people what for do. And then you become a corporal. So the roles vary in what you're doing, really. So at one point, I used to teach people how to drive what's called armoured personnel carriers, like small tanks. So I did that for a bit. I was a weapons instructor, so I teach people how to use and fire weapons and things like that. So generally, depending on what operations we were kind of on, your role kind of changed. But generally, I was in charge of about 7 other people, and I'll be telling them what we're doing and what we're doing for the day and things like that. So yeah, it was quite good, quite interesting. Not every day. Every day is totally different. You know, doing something different nearly every day. So it's quite engaging. So it's good fun. Yeah.
What's something people don't realize about being in the army?
One thing people don't realize quite a lot is that you do quite a lot of traveling in the army. You can travel the world basically for free. So like I joined the army and went straight over to Northern Ireland. So for 2 years in Northern Ireland. So I did that time over there, and then I come back from Ireland. I went to Canada. Spent about 4 months living in Canada, a place called Alberta, near Edmonton and Calgary. Went to the Rocky Mountains, did some kayaking and canoeing and whitewater rafting, horse riding, mountain biking, all kind of stuff like that. So that was amazing, as well as doing army training as well. Where else have I been? I've been to the Grand Canyon. So I've walked through the Grand Canyon. So right from one side right the way through to the other side. Been to Las Vegas. The army paid for me to go to Las Vegas. I spent 2 weeks in Las Vegas. That was fantastic. I climbed Kilimanjaro while I was in the army, Mount Kilimanjaro, in 1999. So people don't think you can do amazing things. I spent 5 years living in Germany as well. So you can get to travel the world for free. You're getting paid for traveling the world. You're learning new things, learning new languages, meeting new people, different cultures. So it's not all about going to like bad places where bad things can happen, obviously, like what happened to me. You can also travel the world and do some absolutely amazing things that you would never have thought possible. For me, being a lad from St Helens and being expelled from school and being dyslexic, never thought I would get the opportunity to go do all these amazing things. So yeah, you know, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, whichever you join, you get to travel the world and do absolutely amazing things.
You've been everywhere.
I have been everywhere pretty much.
You might felt just never going on holiday. You've been everywhere.
Yeah.
So, can you talk us through what happened in Afghanistan?
Yes, so obviously I went on lots of different places, like I said, Northern Ireland, Kosovo. I went to Iraq twice, did 2 tours in Iraq, and then 2009 I went to Afghanistan. About 3 months into being in Afghanistan, I went on a foot patrol. So we went out to search some houses for some weapons or some bomb making equipment, and then about an hour or so into that patrol, unfortunately I stepped on what's called a pressure plate IED. So an improvised explosive device, like a landmine.
Isn't it like
Yeah.
in the ground and then
Buried
you
in the
squat on
ground.
it?
Yeah.
And then if you move it, just explodes.
No, it's not like Hollywood movies. No, that doesn't happen. So I was walking down the road. I had a friend in front of me called Jamie. He had a metal detector called a Valence. So he's looking for these devices on the ground. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, doesn't really matter how or why, but Jamie missed the device. He stepped over it. I was stood behind him. I stepped on the device. So then the next thing that I knew, I was like lying on the floor, on my back, big dust cloud around me. I couldn't hear anything. All my mouth was full of dust and dirt. I felt like a stun numbness throughout my body. You know when you bang your funny bone, and it's not very funny, kind of felt like that, like you feel like a bit sick, but you know something bad's happened to you. But a bit worse, yeah.
Funny bone, but then all over your body.
Yeah, like a stun numbness all over your body. So I looked down, I couldn't see my legs at that stage then. So straight away I started thinking self-help. I need some morphine, I need some tourniquets, they're my first aid kit. Yeah, but I looked at this hand, and that thing was hanging off, so I made a fist, kept rolling that finger, and then this arm was twisted behind my back. So
how you've got that like big massive thing all over?
Yeah, they sewn it back on there, that skin from there. So I knew I couldn't help myself then, so I started shouting for the medic really loud. Luckily my friend Jamie got blown forward in the blast. He took some shrapnel to his back and his behind. He crawled back towards me, started giving me some morphine, started putting some bandages on my legs, on my arm, and then they called for a helicopter to come and pick me up and took me back to Camp Bastion there. And then from there,
Back here.
well, the doctors there then put me into what's called an induced coma, so put me to sleep basically. And then the next day they put me on an aeroplane and flew me back to what's called Selly Oaks Hospital in Birmingham, the military hospital in Birmingham. So I spent about 3 days on critical care in this coma. and they said my statistics were quite strong, so my heart was quite strong and my breathing was quite strong. So they brought me out of the coma. So I remember waking up for the first time in this like very dimly lit room with crisp white walls everywhere and crisp white sheets on the bed, and there's some people sonning over the bed. I didn't know who these people were, so I started shouting at these people, maybe thinking I was still in Afghanistan. So the doctors come rushing over, started calming me down, explaining to me where I was. And then as I began to focus, I see these people were. So I see my mum and dad was there, my stepmum was there, that's why I was probably screaming probably. And then my girlfriend was on the other side of the bed there. And I lay there and I thought, I'm still here, but I'm a survivor, not a victim. And unfortunately, one of my friends, Sam Valentine, he died in Afghanistan. One of my other friends, Fusilier Bush, he died in Afghanistan as well on the patrol that I was on. And 7 of my other friends also paid the ultimate sacrifice in Afghanistan. So I thought, I'm still here, so I'm going to start setting myself some goals and I'm going to start moving my life forward.
What was going through your mind at the time?
Yeah, well, at the time of the injury, I just thought the lads are here. So my mates were there. Jamie was putting the bandages on. One of my other mates come over, started speaking to me, telling me that was going to be okay. So I thought, the guys are here, the guys to do the job that they're trained to do. You know, we're all trained exactly the same. I had faith in the guys. You know, I've been working with these guys for a couple of years, so I knew that they'd do what they had to do. So I kind of just closed my eyes and drifted in and out of consciousness because I knew the guys were there. You know, like when you play rugby or any team sport, you know the other guys on the field are going to look after you, aren't you, and do what you do. You know, here you can speak to your friends here, can't you? They'll look after you. I'm sure they're there to support you, aren't they? You know, so I knew that, you know, the mates were there and the mates will look after me. So I could kind of relax and let them carry on doing the job.
What was the toughest part of your experience?
Yeah, so it's the small things really. You know, I woke up for, so I'm not a victim. I'm going to start setting myself some goals and move myself forward. So I've been writing to my cousin Carl when I was in Afghanistan. Carl, listen, I met this girl called Claire. She's absolutely amazing. So when I come back from Afghan, I'm going to ask her to marry me. So I lay there and I thought, there's no reason why I still can't marry Claire. So I put out there the ultimate goal I wanted to achieve. And then one of my friends come to see me. He said, Andy, in July 2010, the Duke of Wellington's going to come to camp. Going to get your operational service medal to the Duke of Wellington. All the mums and dads and boys and girls will be there that day. It'll be an amazing day. He said, but also, the Benjamins going back to Afghanistan in October 2010. So I thought, if I can stand that day on my wheelchair, maybe get an operational service medal, maybe march off the parade ground, then all the mums and dads and boys and girls will know if their son or daughter gets injured or their mum and dad gets injured, with hard work and determination, they can move the line forward. So I set that as the middle term goal that I wanted to achieve. And then the doctor come walking around to see me. He said, "Oh, you're doing quite well. Are you okay?" I said, "I'm not bad, sir." So I'm just wondering, when can I go home for a weekend? And he said, "What are you on about?" I said, "I want to go home for a weekend, spend some time with my family." He said, "Well, suppose when you can get off your bed, out your wheelchair onto the floor in case you fall out of it, then climb back in your wheelchair again." He said, "We'll let you go home for a weekend." I said, "Right." So I'll be going home on Friday. And he walked away shaking his head, and I thought, "Don't down me, pal. I'm from North. I'm double hard." Right? Because you put like a bit of doubt in my mind, it made me more determined to prove it wrong. So by setting myself that immediate goal, a middle term goal, a long term goal, that's where I've got to where I am today.
Well,
Pardon?
did you manage to do it?
I went home after 10 days. So after 10 days of being injured, losing 3 limbs, I went home after 10 days. People spend longer in hospital with
Did you manage to get down on the Friday?
Yeah. Because I told the doctors that's what I was doing, and then I started believing in myself, and I started telling other people what I was doing. So the nurse come round and said, "Andy, I've heard you're going home on Friday." I said, "Yeah, I am." "So you're going to need some medicine to take home with you?" I said, "Yeah, I will." So she went away and started getting some medicine. Another nurse came and said, "Andy, where do you live?" So someone said, "You were home on Friday." I said, "I am." "Yeah, so I live in a 2-bedroom terraced house." She said, "Well, you're going to need a ramp to your front door because you're in a wheelchair. You're going to need a bed downstairs." So I said, "Yeah." So she went away and they made that happen. So because I started telling people what was going to happen and what I believed in, they started believing in me as well. So if you wanted to do something and achieve something, there's no point just keeping it inside your head. You need to tell people that's what you want to achieve. And they'll help you on that journey to be able to achieve those things.
What was your recovery like after your injuries?
Yeah, it weren't too bad. It took me about 2 years, really. I went down to a place called Headley Court, which is the Army Rehabilitation Centre down in Surrey. It's now moved to a place called Loughborough. It's a £300 million facility, one of the best facilities in the world for injured veterans. But back then it was down in Surrey. And the great thing was that there was other guys there who'd been injured as well. So it's not like if I would have gone to, like, say, Wiston Hospital or Fazackley Hospital as a triple amputee, I would have been the only triple amputee in that hospital. So I would have had no one to relate to, really, about the journey that I was on. So obviously, when you have a military hospital, and other guys there maybe lost 1 leg, 2 legs, maybe lost 3 limbs the same as me, maybe, been paralysed, could have been shot in the back and paralysed from the waist down. So all the guys there is rehabilitation together, so we can all learn from each other. And that's the thing, innit? Sometimes I wouldn't ask questions, but I'd be watching someone else, watching how they're walking down a ramp and thinking, right, I'll go and try that tomorrow. But then I would ask a question every now and again, but a lot of the time I'd just be looking and observing and seeing how people are doing things and thinking, well, if he's doing it and he's been doing the same as me, then I can do it as well. So that was a great thing about having the rehabilitation. So it took me about 2 years to learn to walk again. I had to learn how to write again because I was right-handed, and now I'm left-handed, so I had to learn how to write again, learn how to shave with a different hand, learn how to brush your teeth, little things like that. Well, learn everything again, yeah, because everything was different, isn't it? Because I was right-handed. Well, a bit similar to being at school, really. I didn't have to learn to read and write again, and maths and English, but I had to learn how to do basic things, like learn to write. Obviously, cut your food up's different because I've only got one arm, tying shoelaces, all these kind of things you have to learn to do.
Was there a moment where you had to make a decision to keep going?
Well, yeah, I never give in, really, but there was been tough times where I thought, oh, this is really hard, how am I going to be able to carry on doing this kind of thing? But then I just look back and think, well, actually, no, unfortunately, my friends who didn't come home, my friends who paid the ultimate sacrifice and didn't come home from Afghanistan, so out of respect for them, then I've got to push on and keep moving myself forward. And also, I think how lucky I actually am, not just because I come back, but I've got some friends there who've been paralysed from the waist down, so they've got the legs, but they can't use them. But I've put these false legs on, and I can go and climb mountains and do all the things that I've done. So there's always someone worse off than yourself after things. So I'm always grateful for being able to move on. But yeah, there's been times where I've been sad and been upset about it, about what happened. But then just sit back and reflect and think, actually, I'm still here, so let's just push on.
How did you stay mentally strong during that time?
So luckily down at Headley Court and even now, there's places you can go to, go outside the park and get outside in nature and see that kind of thing, and be mentally fit as well as physically fit as well. So it's about that, isn't it? It's about talking to people all times. I get counselling and things like that. So asking other people advice and what they do to stay mentally strong, and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's just about that, really. Yeah, it's been difficult sometimes, but I'm grateful for being here and the opportunities that life has given me.
What is the Standing Tall Foundation?
So I set the Standing Tall that foundation up about 5 years ago. So I was doing a lot of events for lots of armed forces charities, and I was sending lots of money down to London to these charities, and it was fantastic doing that. But I thought in my own community of St Helens, where I live, there's a lot of people who struggle with the mental health. A lot of people have got alcohol and drug addiction. There's ketamine. I'm sure you've heard of ketamine. Well, St Helens is one of the highest rates of ketamine amongst young people in the UK. So I thought, actually, I want to help people in my own community. So I set up the Standing Tall Foundation, and we do free mental health for anyone aged 13 upwards for anxiety, bereavement, depression, anything at all. We do drug and alcohol, and any kind of addiction counselling as well. We have 2 girls that work for us to help people fill forms out for like housing benefits or PIP claims or anything at all to do any kind of paperwork and forms that people struggle with. And then we have a Wellbeing Wednesday where people can come go for a walk and talk about the problems. We have a yoga, free yoga classes and things like that. And then we are looking in the future to get something similar to what you've got here, where we've got our own sports halls. People can come and do activities after school, and other people can come and do activities during the day as well. So yeah, we're a relatively new charity, really, but that's what we do. I'm very proud to have my own foundation. Very proud to be able to help other people who are in need as well.
How did you go about setting it up?
Yeah, well, luckily I've got a good friend of mine, John Tobin. He's the co-founder of the foundation. He used to have an estate agent and an electrical company. He's a bit of a businessman, really, and we spoke together about setting the foundation up. So he basically did all the paperwork that was involved with getting charity status and CIC status and all the rest of it. So he does all the kind of the back room stuff of running the foundation, along with a girl called Charlie, who works for us as well. She's the executive officer of the foundation, and I'm more just like the face of the foundation and go out meeting people and doing things like this to bring awareness about what the foundation does really. So, have you heard of that acronym, that TEAMS? Have you heard of that? Together, everyone achieves more. Yeah? So that's what it's about. So, well, that's the thing what you can take away now. So TEAMS is together, everyone achieves more. So there's no I in TEAMS. So I can't do things by myself. Yeah, so I need people around me to do things for me. So John does all the back stuff for the foundation, the paperwork. Charlie does the bid writing and day-to-day things like that. And I'm out and about doing more community-based stuff. And together, it's true, everyone does achieve more. No one can do anything by themselves. All the things that I've done, climbing mountains and bike rides that I've done and all these things that I've done, I've not done it by myself. I've had teams around me to help me get there.
What do you enjoy most about what you do today?
Helping people, really. When I go to the foundation sometimes, if someone's there maybe on a Monday for the first ever counselling session, they're sat in a chair and their head's down and they're not sure what direction their life's taking and they're a bit obviously upset and things like that. And then I go again the next Monday and I see them sat in the chair and they're smiling and they're waiting to see the counsellor. And I think that's because I get out of bed every morning. That's because I do what I do with the foundation. That person's getting the help that they need. So that really inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing. So I just really enjoy helping other people and inspiring young people like yourself to say, listen, it doesn't matter where you're from, doesn't matter what upbringing you've had, doesn't matter what schooling you've had. As long as you work hard and be kind, you can achieve absolutely anything at all. Like I say, I got expelled from school at 13. I've got dyslexia, but I've written my own book and I've got an MBE and I've got my own little coffee shop that I run because I work hard and I'm kind and I stay humble as well. I think that's what it's about really. It doesn't matter where you're from, you can achieve absolutely anything.
Who has had the biggest influence on your life and why?
Yeah, well, I'm going to say my mum, because my mum's disabled, unfortunately. It's mum's birthday today, actually, so happy birthday, mum. My mum lost a leg in a car crash that we was in when I was only 5. A drunk driver crashed into a car that I was in. So my mum's disabled, and I remember being a young carer for my mum, but she brought me and my 3 sisters up. She's done a good job of it. We've all gone on to do great things. So I'll say my mum really the biggest inspiration for me. Really, not some footballer or some rugby player or some movie star. No, someone who's real has actually had a genuine impact on my life.
One habit that's made the biggest difference to you?
I think just getting up in the morning and just being present, just doing what you've got to do every single day, and trying to put a smile on your face and trying to be kind to other people. So when I'm driving my car, I send my kids to school in the morning. William jumps out at the high school, and I take my little girl to primary school, and I see people at a junction, and they're in the car and they're looking left and right, frantic to waiting to get out the junction. I flashed them out the junction, and they give you a little smile, a little wipe, a little smile, and they go on the way. So opening the door for someone, talking to someone when you go to Tesco or Aldi or wherever you go shopping, and the boy or girl's got a name badge on, and just saying, "Oh, thank you, Sandra," or "Thank you, Barry, for that today. They're fantastic," and watch them smile. It doesn't cost anything at all to be kind to other people. And I think by being kind to other people, then kindness happens to you. I've been in situations where a guy called Warren Joyce, who used to be a football coach for Man United academy team, come into my shop, cafe shop, asked me to do a talk for Wigan Athletic. I did a talk for Wigan Athletic. I then got invited to Man United to go and watch Wigan play Man United. I then met Sir Alex Ferguson. I then met one of his friends who had a recruitment company, did a talk for him, and then he gave me a job. So if I would have said to that Warren, "No, I'm not doing that talk, I can't be bothered," that wouldn't have come round full circle. So by being kind to people, it does come back to you.
What one simple thing people can start doing today to improve their mindset?
Yeah, one thing you can do every single day to just improve your own mental wealth, being and your own mind. I think maybe write a journal. Start writing a journal, or a diary or a notebook. So if you've had a bad day, just write it down in there. Today this happened, whatever it was, put it down in there. Then the next day, when something good's maybe happened, then you can put that in, and it kind of cancels the other one out, doesn't it? So just by writing a journal, or by speaking to people around you at the youth club and your friends, if you had a bad day, speak to them. So just be a bit more open, really, than trying to keep everything bottled up inside your head, really, because if you're just asking yourself the same questions all the time, you're only going to get the same answer. But by writing things down in a journal and telling other people about the problems and things like that, then a problem halved is a problem solved, isn't it? That's what he's saying. Whether you tell your friend, or you tell a school teacher, or your mum and dad, or someone down here at the youth club, doesn't matter who you tell, really. But if you tell someone what's going on and what issues you've got, then they can help you on that journey. But if you don't tell no one, then no one can help you with what's going on. Then I see accounts where, say, about once a month, I would chat with him about where I'm up to and what I'm feeling sad about and what I'm feeling happy about, and it just really helps keep moving yourself forward.
How could people build confidence and resilience?
How can you build confidence and resilience? Well, you can build confidence by celebrating small successes. So, like, you come here today, you've done this podcast, absolutely amazing questions that you've all asked. So when you've finished this, be proud of yourself for what you've done and how confident you've done, and celebrate that success. It's just celebrating very small successes. Like if you go to school and you get to school on time in the morning, that's success, isn't it? You're not going to get a late mark, you know what I mean? So just give yourself a little pat on the back, and well done you for getting up out of bed and getting there on time.
I used to be late every day.
Well,
no, on time every day.
Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, celebrate that by giving yourself a pat on the back. That's what it's about. So celebrating that, yeah. How we can build up resilience? Well, you become more resilient by doing things that you're maybe afraid to do. That's how you become more resilient. It's called stepping out of your comfort zone. So if you do the same thing every single day, you're only gonna, you know what I mean? But if you do something that you've not done before, like I've jumped out of aeroplanes. Well, the first time I did that, I was very nervous, very frightened, very anxious about doing it. But then I did it, so I stepped out of my comfort zone, jumped out the airplane, and then, like, yeah, it weren't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's absolutely amazing, actually, floating around in silence and above the sky, and you can see all houses really small and all that.
I would never do that, because if I go really high and jump, I feel like I'm just gonna.
Well, that's why it's called stepping out of your comfort zone, isn't it? So the first time you ever probably ate like a pepper or a chili, or the first time you probably had a kind of pop, or a kind of Coke or something, you're probably like, oh, what's this going to taste like? And then you taste it, thought, oh, that's quite nice, and now you like it, don't you? But the first time you did it, you're probably like, oh, I'm not sure I want to do that. What is it gonna taste like?
What's one thing everyone listening should take from your story?
I think just one thing anyone can take away is that anyone can achieve absolutely anything at all if they put their mind to it, have the right mindset, have the right support group around them, like you've got here at the youth club. You know, your support workers who are here, and your parents or step parents or your friends or whoever it is. You know, anyone can achieve absolutely anything at all. Like I said, all the things I've gone on to achieve is not because I've done it all by myself, although I am quite strong-minded and I'm quite stubborn sometimes, but also I ask people for help and support, and I want to achieve hardly anything at all without that help and support by other people.
There's a question I've been dying to ask. When you were in the army and you had to carry the big guns,
Yeah.
was it really heavy?
Yeah.
And you had to run in that?
Yeah, they're quite heavy. When you're in Afghanistan, you're probably carrying about £70 worth of kit on you. So when you go home after, you get a bag of sugar out of the cupboard. A bag of sugar weighs £1. Imagine carrying 70 bags of sugar. So it's like carrying you around for like 5 or 6 hours on your back while you're on patrol.
What does everybody say to Andy for coming in and speaking?
No, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, and there's some absolutely fantastic questions there. I think it's great that you're doing this kind of thing to build your confidence up, and your resilience was great. You've got this amazing facility here. And yeah, please do, if you are struggling with anything, or your friends are, then just ask for help and support. Yeah, and be kind to people. That's the main thing, yeah.